Back with another video, folks, and as I did post in my last two videos besides me collecting Thomas and Friends items in HO scale and O scale, that basically, yeah, so like not only do I collect the HO scale items of Thomas and Friends and the O scale items of Thomas and Friends that both scales that are discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future. But for O scale, it's possibly coming out in the future for O scale, because I don't know if Lionel would make any more Thomas product for O scale Lionel, because I would really like to see them make some more box cars of like Henry, like Emily, Diesel, box cars like that. So and I know I did say on there too that since I'm more HO fan than I am with O scale, so obviously I don't have to mention that I trying to collect all the Thomas items in HO scale and O scale that are discontinued, currently on sale and coming out in the future, but O scale is possibly coming out in the future, because those I don't have to say, because you guys already know that I'm gonna always be collecting those, the ones that I do not yet have. But as for HO scale, since I'm more of a HO fan than I am with O scale, HO scale, I collect a lot of the non-related Thomas items, and HO scale items I do not collect are Chuggington and Thomas item, and now Thomas items and HO scale I do not collect are only the ones that do not count, which I explained too in my other video before I posted like the trains that that I like collect and all that. You guys and don't collect, you know the deal. And for O scale, I only collect Thomas and O scale, folks. That's it. I only collect Thomas and O scale. And yeah, so since I collect only Thomas and O scale, folks, I collect the ones that are discontinued, currently on sale, possibly coming out in the future if anything comes out. In O scale, yeah. So only Thomas I collect in O scale, and what I do not collect in O scale is, yeah, I do not collect any non-related Thomas items in O scale. I do not collect those. I do not collect Chuggington. And what else? Yeah, I just and I don't collect any like Thomas items that don't count, as I already have them. Already somewhat have them though, whether they're remakes or not. That in O scale, so I just don't. So there's definitely some Thomas items. There's like little over a few of them, maybe about 10 or 20 of them, I would think, that do not count. So even though I do own some non-related Thomas trains, like these ones are right here. It's hard to see right here, like stuff like that. Oh, there we go. All right. I don't know if you guys can see it there, but yeah, non-related Thomas trains that are like these right here. Even though I own a few of them, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be wanting to collect any non-related Thomas trains, because in O scale I only collect Thomas items in O scale that I do not yet have, that do count, that are discontinued, currently on sale, and possibly coming out in the future. And the O scale items I do not collect are the non-related Thomas trains. I do not collect Chuggington in O scale, and I do not collect any Thomas items that do not count to add on to my O-scale Thomas collection, due to the fact that I already have some of the items to it, or I have the same items but they're just like remakes or they're OG ones, and that it just wouldn't make sense to like get the same thing and all that. So yeah, things like that. And HO scale, yeah, HO scale, you already know the deal, that how I buy the Thomas items Bachman wise, and yeah, you know how I buy the Thomas Bachman stuff in HO scale, Thomas items and Bachman HO scale that are discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future, that I do not yet have. Those I always will collect until I have every single one. Same with the O scale ones that count of Thomas and Friends, and the Thomas items that do not count in HO scale Bachman are the ones that I pretty much already have, or if they're like remakes, or if I got them in a set. You guys know the deal. And now for HO scale items, other HO scale items I do collect as well is non-related Thomas trains, like not related Thomas trains, like that Conrail caboose, the CSX boxcar, stuff like that, that's not Thomas related. And what I also do not collect, folks, what I also do not collect is what I also do not collect, folks, in HO scale is Chuggington. So yeah, so now that I so that, oh yeah, and then the Hornby ones, guys. Yeah, so the Hornby Thomas collection, yeah, that one is still a maybe, guys. I'm still undecided though, but because last night I just kind of was like thinking last night, and while I was thinking about Hornby, the Thomas Hornby brand, it just made me feel like and wonder, if I get the Thomas Hornby characters that Hornby made their production, but Bachman never made them, that if I was to find all those, even though they're discontinued and they're no longer made by Hornby, that why would I want to get myself, maybe do I want to get myself interested in collecting the whole entire Thomas and Friends Hornby collection, such as like characters right here like Gordon, Percy, Thomas, James, Edward, Emily, that Bachman already made and I already have them. So here's the answer to that, folks. So yeah, yes, there are characters out there. Yeah, there are characters out there. I'll name 3 of them. So I'm gonna name 3 characters that Hornby and Bachman made characters of. All right, I'm gonna name 3 characters each from Hornby and Bachman, that Bachman and Hornby made both these characters, and I'm gonna name 3 of them. So yeah, 3 characters that Hornby and Bachman made. Here they are: Thomas, Gordon, and who else do I want to say? Yeah, there's so many out there. You know, I'm gonna say Percy. Thomas, Gordon, and Percy. So yeah, Thomas, Gordon, and Percy. Thomas, Gordon, and Percy were made in Hornby and Bachman. So now I'm gonna name 3 characters. I know I already said it, guys, but now I'm gonna do it this way. I know I posted it on my YouTube channel how I posted like the Hornby characters that I would only be collecting that were made in Hornby but not Bachman. So I'm gonna name 3 of them that were made in Hornby but not by Bachman. So the 3 characters that were made by the Hornby production but not the Bachman production are Stephanie, Murdoch, and D261. Those 3 were made in Hornby but not made by Bachman. So yeah, if I ever do collect the here goes to the next part of that. So yeah, guys, the answer still remains to yes. If I ever collect the Hornby collection of Thomas and Friends, yeah, only if this is if I ever decide that I'm gonna change my mind, if I ever change my mind, folks, and decide that I'm going to want to collect the Hornby collection of Thomas and Friends, like the Thomas and Friends Hornby collection, the only characters out of the Thomas and Friends Hornby collection I will be collecting are the characters that were made by Hornby, but Bachman never made them. So yeah, that's why those are the only Thomas Hornby characters that I have on the list, and when I put it out there, because I figure those characters, like those Hornby characters from Hornby, are the only Hornby characters that count to me, because Bachman has never made those characters in their Bachman production. So I figure, you know what, if Bachman doesn't make any of those characters in the future, then I guess I'll just why not get them in Hornby. So yeah, that's how it'll be, folks. So yeah, but for now, me collecting the Thomas and Friends Hornby collection of only the characters out of there that were made in Hornby but never ever by Bachman. So yeah, those Thomas Hornby characters are the only Thomas Hornby characters out of the whole entire Thomas and Friends Hornby collection I'm gonna be collecting, since we already have a Thomas, Percy, James, and like a lot of characters that were made in Hornby and also made by Bachman at the same time. Since there's a lot of them made in Bachman as well, and I have half of them now, that like, since I have them all pretty much, that in Hornby, it's like the same thing in Hornby, though it's just that since there's a Gordon, Percy, Thomas, James, Henry, you name it, that's made in Hornby and Bachman at the same time, because since I have all the Bachman engines almost in Bachman HO scale that Hornby also made, that Hornby also made some like other engines too in their Hornby production, like Murdoch, Dart, D261 Flying Scotsman, like characters like that, even Old Slow Coach and Spencer Special Brake Coach, and a couple others that I'm missing too, I forget. That those characters right there from Thomas and Friends Hornby, those Thomas and Friends Hornby characters, yeah, those Thomas and Friends Hornby characters, yeah, they were made by Hornby, but those ones that I just named, of like Dart, Murdoch, and like Old Slow Coach, D261 characters like that, since characters like that were made in Bachman, or no, since characters like that were made in Hornby but never ever by Bachman, That's the only reason why I want to collect the Hornby collection in that way, is that when I collect the Hornby collection, if I ever collect the Hornby collection, that the only way I'm going to collect the Hornby collection of Thomas and Friends is that I'm going to be only collecting the Thomas Hornby characters that did get made in Hornby, but Bachman just never made them. So yeah, that's why I would collect a Hornby. And B though too, since there are characters too that actually, no, I already said it. No, I already said how you got Gordon, Percy, Thomas, and multiple other characters like James and Henry, Emily, and them that are made in Hornby, and all the same goes with Bachman, but Hornby made a Dart, D261, an old slow coach, and a Murdoch, but yeah, did I say that? Yeah, Hornby made a Dart, D261, and a Murdoch, but Bachman never made those characters that I just said. So yeah, so now that I got that off my chest, what else? Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. So here comes my other announcement, folks. And yeah, now that I got that all off my chest. Yeah, now that I got that all off my chest, folks, you guys know the deal. And if you guys want to see, or if you guys don't understand what I meant though by that though, that you can check out my last 2 videos that I posted of all the HO scale and O scale items that I do and do not want to collect, since I only have HO scale and O scale. So if you guys want to check out my last 2 videos of that, then go check them out, because they're on there that says about the ones that I do and do not want to collect. So okay, so moving on, folks. So what was I gonna say? I know I said too that the HO narrow gauge, along with the N scale, because pretty much HO narrow gauge, the HO narrow gauge, I know it's Scarlowi, Rheneas, and Rusty and Peter Sam that run on the HO narrow gauge track, but basically it runs on N scale. So basically, since they're considered HO narrow gauge, or narrow gauge, whatever you call it, that since those engines, Scarlowi and them, run on N scale track, that pretty much those ones, Scarlowi and them, I just been calling them N scale lately because they run on N scale. So, but I'm gonna call them HO narrow gauge right now, because today I was on the phone with my uncle and we talked, and he said that that he is definitely he is definitely interested. So there's some good news right there, folks, is that he is definitely interested in getting into N scale. Yeah, because he told me there's something about that. He said he would love to get into either N scale or G scale, which G scale is the large scale, and I told him, well I did already I already have mapped out my future layout, which I'm not ready to show it to you guys yet though, because I want it to be a surprise. I want to give it a little bit more time, because but what I'll say though is that yes, my HO layout is going to be all HO scale track, the glue down track, and if there's enough space to add on another 1 or 2 sections of like layout, if there's enough space to do that, then only if there's enough space to do that, and that extra space of layout is going to be the N scale layout, which the HO narrow gauge is going to run on of Scarlomi and them. And yeah, and I said too that I would only be collecting the HO narrow gauge and the Thomas N scale product only if I had room of space to make a N scale layout for the narrow gauge Thomas engines and N scale Thomas. And yeah, so when I told my uncle about that, yeah, he thought it was a good idea. He's on board, and yeah, but the thing is that if I do not have enough space to add on another section of layout, then I know I did say I unfortunately won't be able to collect the N scale of Thomas and Friends and sing with the HO narrow gauge that also runs on N scale. But however, I'm actually not going to let that stop me from wanting to collect the HO narrow gauge and the N scale of Thomas and Friends. I'm not going to let that stop me, because folks, since I had a nice conversation today with my uncle, and he said that he wants to get into like N scale or G scale, I was saying to myself, to him, yes, perfect. We gotta like do something, like figure something out with like N scale. And I told him that, and I told him the best one, and I told him that, nah, I'd get into N scale if I were you, since I already have like the N scale layout mapped out next to my future HO layout, whether there's enough space or not though, because either way, folks, I can make it happen though. Like, as creative as I am though, like I can definitely like get the N scale on there somehow though. And I told him too that like, as cool as the G scale large scale is, I like it, but it's just way too expensive though. I get it, like N scale I feel is the better one in my opinion, because G scale, it's just too expensive. And plus the type of house that I live in, folks, like the house that I live in, folks, it's way too small for G scale to like, because if I was to have like a G scale layout or like on the floor or something, then no, it would just like take up too much room. And now that I have like my O scale track and everything, that no, there's just no room for the G scale at all, meaning the large scale. There's just no room at all, folks. So yeah, so my announcement is that rather I have room on my future layout to add on another section of layout to my future HO layout, which that extra space is going to be the N scale layout for the HO narrow gauge and the Thomas N scale. Or if I do not have room, so yeah, rather I have room or I do not have room, like basically, like, I'm not gonna let that stop me from wanting to get HO narrow gauge and N scale, because HO narrow gauge, I really want to collect HO narrow gauge. So I'm making the announcement right now that starting today, right here, right now, starting today, January 8th of 2024, I am making a hardcore announcement, probably my biggest announcement yet, that as I continue to collect the HO scale and O scale Thomas and Friends items that do count, that are discontinued, currently on sale and coming out in the future in O scale and HO scale. But don't forget, folks, that O scale, when I say the Thomas O scale items coming out in the future, those ones I mean are possibilities, because I don't know if Lionel's going to make any more Thomas product, but hey, we'll see what happens. Because it'd be really cool one way if they actually made a Connor and Caitlin set Lionel. So going forward, so as I still collect Thomas and Friends items in HO scale Bachman and O scale, the ones that do count. And also I just do not collect the O scale and HO items of Thomas and Friends that don't count, as I already somewhat have them, or if it's like similar or something, but not just similar, or if it's like the same thing that I pretty much already have, something like that, or if there's something different about it. So yeah, that's why some of the HO and O scale Thomas items and those scales don't count, is for that reason. And but yeah, the ones that do count are the ones that I definitely do not yet have. So yeah, so while I still continue to get the HO scale and O scale Thomas items in both those scales, while I still continue to do all that, it's now N scale's turn to come into my collection and come into the family of to join my HO scale Thomas and my O scale Thomas family. So yeah, folks, that's the announcement right there. So we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it work, because folks, like, you have not seen the other side of me yet, though. And what I mean by the other side of me is that my, like, basically like what I'm capable of, and that, like, the project that I'm gonna be doing for this future layout. Guys, this might be more than just a surprise. I think this is going to blow people's minds, and I think it's going to draw lots and lots and lots of attention. But I don't know about lots and lots and lots and lot of attention, but I know it'll probably get a good pop. So yeah, so there you have it. So as I continue to get all the HO scale Bachman of Thomas and Friends that are discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future, the ones that do count that I do not yet have, besides collecting those ones and collecting the Thomas items in O scale that I do not yet have, that do count, that are discontinued, currently on sale, and possibly coming out in the future if Lionel makes any more Thomas product in O scale, like box cars. I'm hoping maybe they'll make an 80th anniversary car, I don't know, for a limited edition. So yeah, and I'm not going to mention again though too, but I'll say it again, guys. There are some Thomas HO scale Bachman items and some Thomas O scale items that do not count at all, guys, which you guys already know that. Those ones do not count, but yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to do, folks. So I thought I'd just announce to you guys that so basically, folks, I'm not alone in this, that I'm not the only one in my family that's getting into N scale. That they know my uncle, he's already open to getting into N scale. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing, folks. I mean, just think about it though. Like, as I'm still in the middle of collecting all HO scale Bachman Thomas items, and same thing with O scale Thomas items, the ones that do count, that are discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future. The ones that do count, only the ones that do count. That while I'm still collecting, and while I'm still trying my best to collect everything of Thomas and Friends that do count, do count in HO scale and O scale, while I still collect all those, that now with me collecting the Thomas and Friends N scale and the Thomas and Friends HO narrow gauge, like Scarloey and them, that whole entire HO narrow gauge collection of Scarloey, Peter, Sam, all of them, folks, it's going to be massive, and it's going to be bigger. And yeah, same thing with collecting N scale. So yeah, no, like me collecting the Thomas and Friends HO narrow gauge of Scarloey and them, that whole entire collection of HO narrow gauge Thomas, that whole entire collection, and same thing with collecting the whole entire collection of Thomas and Friends N scale. Because as a reminder, folks, that if some of you don't know this, that N scale, that Thomas and Friends N scale by Bachman, they run on the same track as HO narrow gauge, like Scarloey and them. Since Scarloey and them are really N scale engines, but they're considered HO narrow gauge. But I don't know, but whatever though. Yeah, it's gonna be a big year, folks. 2025 is gonna be a big year, and I just didn't think it was. I just did not see this coming. This was a big year. So yeah, I am gonna declare right now. So yeah, I am declaring that, yeah. So the legacy. So besides me collecting Thomas and Friends items that are discontinued, currently on sale, and coming out in the future in HO scale of the Thomas items that do count, as I continue to collect those ones in HO scale, that in O scale, I continue to collect only the Thomas items in O scale that do count, such as the discontinued, currently on sale, and possibly coming out in the future if they make any line now. That in O scale, I will not be collecting the Thomas items that do not count. You guys already know that. And Chuggington, I will not collect in O scale. What I also will not collect in O scale are non-related Thomas items. Even though I own some, and even though I own the full 9-car set of the Polar Express, the remote one, even though I own all that, it doesn't mean I'm going to start buying more non-related Thomas product. And for HO scale, as I continue that legacies with HO scale, that besides, like I said, with collecting all the Thomas items from Bachman that do count, that are discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future for Thomas Bachman HO scale, they do count, that are discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future. Yeah, besides continuing that legacy, the HO items I will still be collecting and still carrying on are the non-related Thomas trains in HO scale, I meant. And yeah, I will still be collecting the HO scale items. Yeah, I will still be collecting the HO scale items that are non-related to Thomas in HO scale. I will continue that legacy still. And what I will not be collecting still in HO scale is Chuggington, and also will not be collecting Thomas HO scale Bachman items that do not count. So yeah, but basically, and also too, and as for Hornby, Hornby folks, still doesn't count though. The Hornby collection of Thomas and Friends, because if I collect the Thomas and Friends Hornby collection of Thomas and Friends Hornby, the only ones that I will be collecting are the Hornby Thomas characters that were made in Hornby by the Hornby production, but not by Bachman. Because the characters that were made in both Bachman and Hornby, that I already got a lot of the characters in Bachman that Hornby also made. But since Bachman never made any of the few characters that Hornby did make, like Dart, Stephanie and them, Murdoch, you name them, that's the only reason why I might want to collect the Hornby collection of Thomas and Friends. The only reason would be because just collecting the Hornby Thomas characters that were made in Hornby but never made by Bachman. So yeah, that's the only reason why I want to collect Hornby Thomas, is to only get the characters that were never made by Bachman, such as Stephanie, Murdoch, and them, and Dart. So yeah, that still remains a no to this day, folks. Collecting the Hornby Thomas characters that were made in Hornby but not by Bachman, that still remains a no to this day. But maybe in a few years from now, I might change my mind. And also too, with O scale, with O scale, I forgot to mention too, like the only not related Thomas item in O scale I'm trying to find still is the Amtrak 2-pack set by Rail King that comes with the Amfleet coach and the Amfleet cafe, because I want to match with my other Amfleets that I have in O scale. So yeah, that's the only non-related Thomas item in O scale that I'm trying to find, is only that one. But that's discontinued, as that is a little bit of a problem that it's discontinued. But I'll still try my best to find it still, and yeah, once I do, then I'm just gonna keep collecting and always keep continuing the Thomas O scale legacy by collecting the ones that I do not yet have. And you guys know the deal to that. So yeah.